The afternoon light slipped gently through the thin white curtains, painting soft golden lines on the wooden floor. In the small house at the edge of town, Sam hummed a quiet tune as she folded tiny baby clothes. Her movements were slow, tender, filled with the kind of warmth that only love could create. Every corner of the house carried a trace of his jacket hanging by the door, his old watch on the table, the unfinished mug he used to drink coffee from every morning before leaving for work. Sam touched it lightly, as if the porcelain still carried the warmth of his hand. He had been away for months, on a mission overseas. Each night, she sat by the window, waiting for the sound of his message tone, reading and rereading the short texts he sent. "Miss you. Take care of yourself and our baby." Now, that baby was already growing inside her, a heartbeat within her, a secret promise of love. She often pressed her palm to her stomach and whispered softly, "Your father will be home soon, little one," he promised.
There was something sacred in that moment, the mixture of faith and longing, the quiet certainty that love would conquer distance. She believed in Lee with every breath she took. Outside, the rain had stopped, leaving the scent of wet earth and new beginnings. Sam stepped out to hang the baby's white blanket under the sun. The air was cool and gentle. She felt her heart swelling with hope.
She had prepared everything for his return: a simple dinner, his favorite dish, a small letter she had written the night before. "Lee, when you come back, I'll tell you everything. About our child. About how much I missed you. About how I dreamed of the day we could finally be a family." Her handwriting trembled slightly at the end of the letter, as if her heart had poured through every word. That evening, the phone rang. It was Lee's friend, saying he was on his way back. Sam froze for a moment, her eyes shining with tears. She pressed the phone to her chest, whispering through her smile, "He's really coming home." She moved around the kitchen like a soft breeze, lighting candles, setting the table, straightening the cushions on the couch. Each little act was filled with love, with hope, with the quiet belief that the hardest days were finally over. But just as she placed the last plate on the table, there was a knock on the door. It was a calm, deliberate knock, not Lee's. Sam hesitated for a moment, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear, and opened the door. There, standing in the golden dusk, was a woman in a black coat. Her expression was composed, her eyes sharp. In her hand, she held a folder knit. "Are you too, Sam?" she asked. "Yes, I am," Sam replied, her voice soft with confusion. The woman's lips curved into a faint, cold smile. "Then I think we need to talk," she said, stepping forward. "I'm Lee's legal wife." The world fell silent. Sam's hands went cold. The sound of the rain outside faded. The candle flickered weakly, and in her chest, something broke quietly, painfully, like a glass, heart shattering in her own hands. The silence in the room stretched painfully long. The only sound was the faint ticking of the clock on the wall, each second cutting into Sam's trembling heart like a blade. Sam stared at the woman before her, unable to speak. Her lips moved, but no words came out. Lee's legal wife. The phrase echoed again and again in her mind, tearing through every tender memory she had guarded for months. The woman stepped inside uninvited. Her perfume filled the air, a sharp, elegant scent that didn't belong in this little house. She glanced around the room, her eyes lingering on the table set for two, the candlelight flickering gently over the plates, and the small baby blanket folded neatly on the chair. "So," she said coldly, "you were waiting for him." Sam's fingers tightened around the edge of the table. Her throat burned, but she forced herself to speak. Who are you really? You said you're his wife." The woman gave a short, humorless laugh. "Not said, I am. We were married 3 years ago, legally here." She pulled a paper from the folder and placed it on the table, a marriage certificate, with Lee's name printed clearly beside hers. Sam's vision blurred. She couldn't tell if it was from the tears gathering in her eyes or the dizziness washing over her. Her hand instinctively went to her belly, where her baby stirred faintly as if sensing her pain. "You're lying," she whispered. "Lee wouldn't. He wouldn't do this to me." The woman's tone sharpened. Then ask him yourself. Before Sam could reply, the sound of a car stopping outside broke the heavy stillness. Footsteps, familiar ones. Her heart leaped, then plummeted in the same instant. The door opened and there he was, Lee. He looked exhausted, thinner than before, his eyes searching for her the moment he stepped inside. To Sam, he breathed, voice trembling with longing and relief. But then he saw her, the other woman standing in the middle of the room. His face went pale. "Why are you here?" he asked, his tone instantly guarded. The woman crossed her arms. "Because I have every right to be. You're my husband." To Sam felt her knees weaken. The world tilted slightly. Lee turned to her, panic flashing in his eyes. "It's not what you think," he said quickly, stepping toward her. "Please, let me explain." But she stepped back. Her tears fell freely now, hot against her cold cheeks. "Explain. Then tell me who she is, Lee. Tell me why she has your name on a paper." He reached out, but she pushed his hand away. The air between them felt heavier than words. The woman smirked. "Maybe you should have told her sooner," she said, walking toward the door. "Secrets don't stay buried forever, you know." The sound of the door closing behind her was like a verdict. Lee stood frozen, his lips parting, his eyes full of regret and desperation. To Sam, "Please." But she couldn't bear to hear another word. Her breath hitched, her chest ached, and before she knew it, her vision went dark. The last thing she felt was the familiar warmth of his arms catching her as she collapsed, then nothing but silence. To Sam woke up in the quiet of the hospital room. The sharp scent of antiseptic hung in the air, and a soft light filtered through the thin curtains. Her head ached, and when she tried to move, pain pulsed through her body. Then she remembered. The woman, the certificate, the look on Lee's face. Her heart twisted painfully. Her hand went instinctively to her belly. Her baby was safe, a small comfort in a storm of confusion. The door opened gently. Lee stepped inside, his face pale and drawn, his eyes red from sleeplessness. He carried a bouquet of Lila, the flowers she used to love, but they looked almost pitiful in his trembling hands. To Sam, his voice broke the silence. She turned her face away, tears stinging her eyes again. Please don't call me like that." Lee took a few hesitant steps forward, his voice hoarse. "You have to let me explain. What you sit's not what it looks like." She laughed bitterly, the sound thin and broken. "Not what it looks like." She had proof. "Lee, your name, your marriage. Was it all a lie? Was I just a distraction while you went back to her?" He shook his head quickly, his voice cracking. "No. I didn't even know she was still alive. That stopped her." Slowly, she turned to face him. "Alive." Lee's eyes darkened. He sat down beside her bed, his hands trembling as he spoke. "She was my wife, yes. But years ago, before the mission to Cambodia, we were married under pressure from her family. It wasn't love. She worked for the same agency, and our marriage was part of an operation. Then one day, she disappeared during an assignment. Everyone believed she was dead, including me." To Sam stared at him in disbelief. "So you just moved on and found me?" Lee lowered his head. "I didn't mean to fall in love again. You came into my life when I was lost, broken, and tired of living in shadows. You gave me peace." To Sam. "For the first time, I wanted something real, someone to come home to." His voice trembled as he reached for her hand, but she pulled away. "You should have told me," she whispered, tears spilling freely. "I had a right to know." "I know," he said softly, pain heavy in his tone. "But I thought the past was gone. I thought she was gone." To Sam bit her lip hard, her body shaking with emotion. "And now she's back, claiming what was once hers." Lee's eyes filled with quiet despair. "She can claim my name, my papers, but not my heart. That belongs to you, always has." Silence hung between them, raw and fragile. Outside, the sound of rain began to fall softly against the window pane, a reflection of their storming hearts. To Sam looked at him, torn between the love that had once saved her and the pain that now consumed her. Then prove it, Lee, she said quietly. Don't just say it. Prove that your love wasn't a lie. Lee nodded, his voice trembling but full of determination. I will. Even if I have to face my past again, I'll prove that the only truth I want is you. And in that quiet room, surrounded by the faint hum of machines and the rhythmic beat of life within her, Sam felt both hope and fear take root once more. Days turned into weeks, and yet the shadow of that woman's appearance lingered over Sam's heart like a scar that refused to fade. Lee had not given up. He visited her every morning, brought her food, flowers, and quiet smiles that never quite reached his eyes. But Sam had grown distant, her laughter muted, her trust shattered into pieces too sharp to touch. Then, one afternoon, when the sun was beginning to set behind the hospital, Lee came back with something in his hand, a folder, worn and heavy, filled with documents. His voice was calm, but there was a trembling sincerity behind every word. Sam, he began, sitting beside her. I found her. Her heart skipped. The woman. He nodded slowly. Yes. Her name is Mei Lin. She was forced to come back and claim to be my wife because someone wanted to ruin me too, destroy everything I've built. But she's confessed. She showed me the files, the threats. It was all manipulation, a trap from people who wanted to discredit my mission, and, he paused, his voice breaking, to hurt you. Sam's eyes widened. So she was never really. She was my wife on paper, yes. But we never lived as husband and wife. It was an arranged alliance for a government operation that ended long ago. And now, she's disappeared again, this time for good. She signed the annulment herself. Lee handed her the papers, his hand shaking. It's over, Sam. Completely over. Tears welled in her eyes as she stared at the proof. The storm that had torn her heart apart was finally clearing. And for the first time in weeks, she saw the man she had fallen in love with, not the soldier. Not the husband of another, but the man who had always fought for her, even when she doubted him. Lee's voice softened. I don't want forgiveness, Sam. I just want you to know the truth. I can't change what happened, but I can promise what comes next. I'll protect you and our child with everything I have. Sam felt something deep within her begin to thaw. Slowly, she reached out and touched his hand. You already have, she whispered. By not giving up. A long silence followed, filled with the sound of their breathing and the rhythm of new beginnings. The baby moved inside her, a gentle reminder that love, no matter how broken, could still grow again. Lee smiled faintly, tears glistening in his eyes. He placed a careful hand on her belly, feeling the small kick beneath his palm. Our child, he murmured, will never have to doubt what love means. Sam looked at him, her gaze softening, and for the first time since that cruel day, she smiled through her tears. Then let's teach our child what love really is. Lee, not perfect, not easy, but real. The evening sun bathed them in golden light, warm and quiet. The pain had not vanished, but it had transformed into something gentler, something that whispered of hope. Love, once lost to misunderstanding, had found its way home again.